Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday service of Now Creations. We have a lot cooking at Now Creations. But before I tell you what's cooking, may I just remind you that the most important thing that's cooking is the presence within you. No matter what you're going to be doing today or will be doing later on with Now Creations, the most important thing is the presence within you. That happy, joyful presence, the light within you. Please do not forget this during the course of the day, and please express it during the course of your day. We do have a few other things cooking. Tonight, I invite you to join us for What is Light Body from 6 to 7:30, a wonderful presentation by Toshiro Tachi-Ren. And then next Saturday, we'll be having our Crystalline Structure of the Body seminar. It'll be from 10 to 1:30 in the afternoon. On Thursday morning, you'll get the email with all of the information on, also the tab to get into the seminar, and then some downloading of some outlines you'll need for the seminar as well. And then next Monday, not this one, but next Monday, we'll be starting our new book study, The Impersonal Way, a wonderful, wonderful presentation of high spirituality. With those things cooking, let's cook here right now. My dear friends, it continues to be a great joy for me personally to greet you in the teachings of this Sunday service. While each one of us is dealing with our own personal challenges, each one of us is able to deal with them from our own personal strength. This was especially evident to me in the many comments I received from last week's teaching on valuing the valuable and being able to move beyond the things that really don't matter quite as much. It is precisely this point that I want to enlarge upon in today's teaching, continuing to focus on the upward spiral of our spiritual living. The title of today's teaching is Making the Decision. Making the Decision. I will begin with a wonderful saying that sets a very nice pattern for our spiritual development, and then fill in the three areas suggested in very clear, practical guidance, helping us to make that decision to develop our spiritual awareness. So let's begin first of all with the saying. While the saying is often ascribed to St. Francis of Assisi, it has much more of a modern tone to it, kind of like a saying that a motivational speaker would make. Well, regardless of who formulated it, the saying is so applicable to our spiritual development. This is the saying: start by doing what is necessary, then do what's possible, and suddenly you are doing the impossible. I'll repeat it again. Start by doing what is necessary, then do what's possible, and suddenly you will be doing the impossible. Well, applicable to any situation in life, I do find it quite appropriate for our own personal spiritual developments. So let's begin with the first statement. Start by doing what is necessary. Applying this to our spiritual development, may I suggest to you that there are 4 daily things that I think are necessary for our spiritual development. They will not be new to you, but you might not be doing them. I know that you know them, but you might not be doing them. So here they are, the 4 daily things I think that are very important for our spiritual growth. The first one, you know this. Did you do it this morning? Upon awakening, before getting out of bed, dedicating your day to bringing awareness to the planet by using such a phrase as, I will bring heaven to earth, or I will usher in the kingdom of God. Did you do that this morning? Did you make the decision to do that? Secondly, meditate for at least 20 or 30 minutes daily. Please don't just read. Don't just discuss. It takes significant time to absorb, to feel, to experience the movement of the God Spirit within you, through you, and around you. Are you doing this daily? Have you made that necessary decision to do so? Third, have that go-to phrase that will clearly and effectively remind you when you are losing your center to bring you back to that centered place. This seems to be something that many of you now are doing, and it makes me very happy to hear that, especially because it's enabling you to enhance the quality of your life. It's especially nice to do it not just when you're facing a challenge, but when you have any free time in the midst of the day. Just go to that go-to phrase. For me, only love, right here, right now. It serves me not just to meet a challenge, but it raises me in the course of the day. Again, I'm very happy to hear that many of you are doing this effectively. The fourth thing that you download from our website, the 10 Daily Habits of Enlightened Living, and review them daily, especially habits 6 and 7. Habit 6 invites you to see the namaste in everyone that you will be encountering through the day. Truly, something that our everyday world needs so much. It speaks to our oneness with each other and with all of life. And then habit number 7, you know I was going to say this, no whining, no complaining, stay centered, using your go-to phrase when necessary. So the question I would really ask you, though, is, have you made the decision? Have you made the decision to do what is necessary? Remembering that before you can do what's possible, let alone impossible, you have to start by doing what is necessary. It's in laying the foundation by doing what is necessary that enables us to do what is possible and even more. I especially say this because this is where I feel many people fail, and perhaps maybe you too have stumbled as well. Let me present an all too often problem and then a possible stumbling block. First, the problem. The all too often problem for spiritual development is that it takes time for your spiritual development. It takes time to understand the importance of spiritual development. It takes time to develop it in our 4 practices. The basic simple problem is that most people want a quick fix. You probably wanted the same. People want to take a pill for spiritual awareness rather than doing the work. I just see this so often. People want a pill, the magic potion, to bring them automatically into spiritual awareness without taking the time to do the work. Has that been your problem? Perhaps this was a problem for you at one time. You wanted that quick fix like everyone else, although you finally realized that you really do have to do the work. There are many people who are very unhappy in life that either they don't know how to fix themselves, or they're unwilling to take the time to change. So often I've heard the excuse that I want to change, but I just have so many things to do. I just can't do it right now. And of course, that now never comes. It's a problem. People will take the time, but you are understanding the importance of so doing. Second, the stumbling block. The stumbling block is a little different. It has more to do with the rate of change. And the word that we'd like to use in this regard is consistency, and the companion word, discipline. Consistency, discipline. Even when people have made a decision to change, or kind of have made a decision to change, they have stumbled with a consistent practice. They have lacked the discipline of doing what is necessary. Is this vaguely familiar or not so vaguely familiar for you? The consistency, the discipline of daily practice. Many of us have experienced this as backsliding or flipping and flopping. At certain moments, we're so enthused about our spiritual life, and at other moments, we feel lost and confused. The good news is that we have been laying the foundation by doing what is necessary. We are smart enough. You're smart enough to know the importance of doing what is necessary for your spiritual growth, because you understand that it is the foundation for then doing what is possible. But the question I would close this first section with again is, are you doing the 4 things that are necessary? It's very important. Hopefully, with this first step under our belts, let's now look at what is possible. There are many, many, many things that are possible once you have decided, having done the 4 necessary things. You will have your own favorites, and I encourage you to do them. What I want to do now is to list 7 things that I think are generally possible. 7 things that are generally possible for all of us who have done what is necessary. But again, always follow your own possibilities. So here are the 7 things that I think are generally possible for us now. They might be a good barometer for your own self. First, truly learning to see yourself as a soul spirit. To realize that you are so much more than just your body, so much more than just your personality self in the world, and so much more than your life circumstances that just usually end up being dramas. A huge part of realizing that you are a soul spirit, so much more than your body and your dramas. A huge part is learning to listen to the guidance that comes from within your soul spirit. We call that guidance intuition. Many of you now listen to your inner voice rather than the voices in your head from the past, or the voices of what others want you to be. This ability to listen to your inner guidance is a major first step of what is possible. The second step follows from the first. As you see yourself as a soul spirit, you also realize that there is a part of you, the spirit part of you, that has not left your source. You've always known this, but oftentimes you get so involved in that worldly stuff. Now, however, not only do you know and feel your connection to source, but you are also taking the time to renew that connection to source through your meditation. And you now take the time to not only do this, but as you continue to do this, you are uplifted by the possibilities. And probably the biggest possibility as you do your daily meditation is the fact that you have now become devoted. You now have become devoted to your source. You have made the decision to become devoted to the God Spirit, because it is precisely this. It is your God Spirit. The God Spirit has become your soul spirit. That's true. The God Spirit has become your soul spirit. You have brought this possibility into your experience. At times, you still can't believe it, and yet you know it's true. You have entered the oneness of God as you. You have entered the oneness of God as you, the soul spirit that has not left your source. Which now leads us to the third possibility. The third possibility has to do with your spiritual relationships. Notice I did not say your relationships or just your family relationships, but with your spiritual relationships. These relationships have occurred on two levels. See if in fact they have occurred on both levels for you. First, you have become spiritual friends. You have become spiritual friends with others who are of like mind and like spirit. You have found these spiritual friends in now creations and in other groups to which you belong. Spiritual friendships are a relatively new possibility for us because they have nothing to do with your personality self, but rather with your common universal spirit that is at the center of your souls. When we come together in spiritual friendship, we find ourselves. It's the way we want to be living with others and within ourselves. Something that we've not experienced before, especially with family and friends. It's wonderful to be in spiritual friendship with others, to feel this presence within ourselves that is so nourishing that one of our members recently said, I can't wait to enter this spiritual friendship each day. I can't wait to enter this spiritual friendship each day. When the Buddhists talked about the Sangha, joining with others who are on the path of enlightenment, they certainly knew what they were talking about. We have become a Sangha of spiritual friends. But there's more, a lot more. We also have been introduced to not just our Sangha here among ourselves, but for many of us, we have been introduced to a higher energy Sangha in A Course in Mastering Alchemy, where our Sangha is not simply the human collective, but it also includes our collective oneness with the higher beings of the Elohim, the Lords of Light, angels, archangels, and ascended masters. What is so attractive about this group of elders is that they want to be one with us. They see us as one with them. We are one with them when we simply follow the Spirit that is at the center of our lives, as they follow the Spirit that is at the center of their lives. Each of us has our respective roles, but from our spiritual center. Do you grasp that? Each of us has our own specific roles, but they all proceed from our common spiritual center. And not only does that encouragement and inspiration come from them, but then they give us those wonderful, wonderful words. We are you, and you are we. We are you. You are we. We have one common spirit. And yes, we do have friends in very high places, spiritual friends we can count on. The fourth possibility, in addition to having spiritual friends here on earth and in the greater collective, we also have a sense of oneness with all others here on the planet. The basis for this oneness is the notion of the holy encounter that A Course in Miracles has taught us to understand. The holy encounter is any encounter we have when viewed from the presence of the Holy Spirit within us. And this is what we're accomplishing quite well. Now, let's be clear. Most of our encounters are pretty easy ones. They're with family, friends, people that we love. It's very easy for us to enter into the kindness in these situations. We also have understand that these encounters with others also apply to those with whom we have a different energy. Those with whom we have a different energy are also holy encounters. All encounters are not warm fuzzies. Even holy encounters are not warm fuzzies, but they do help us to realize the teaching that even though we may not go up and hug that other person, we are still one with them. This oneness with all is our fourth possibility. The truth of each one of these encounters leads us to the fifth possibility, namely, that if something is happening to us, it is meant to happen and must be seen accordingly. Often we rebel at such a notion, especially when something's happening that, well, we don't want to happen. We have forgotten two very important things that we are now ready to remember and respect as our possibilities. First, if something is happening to us, it is always happening for our growth. That's incredibly important. It's the way our soul spirit is teaching us at the time. The reluctance to hear this truth is finally giving way to understanding that whatever is, it is, that it becomes what we make of it. That is something we've learned to understand. So when something is happening, whether we like it or not, we do realize that it is for our growth, and it will become what we make of it. Such words of wisdom. the sixth possibility. The sixth possibility has been a long time in coming. It has a long history to it, but now you're ready for it. The sixth possibility is moving beyond your past. In order to do so, you have to come to the understanding that you are no longer living in the game of separation. I'm going to repeat that again. In order for you to understand this, to get over your past, you have to realize you are no longer playing the game of separation. You have to come to realize that your past was meant to give you the experience of separation. It's such an important thing to grasp. Your past was given to you as an opportunity to experience separation. Please do not try to make up for your past. You'll never do it. Don't try to atone for your past. You'll never do it because your past was meant to be an experience of separation. You haven't failed in the past. You just experienced the past as the energy of separation. And now you have ended that game. Now you are aligned. And in aligning, you must simply understand that your past is the past, not to be imprisoned by it, but rather to move beyond it and to understand what is possible for your future. Please eliminate excuses for past behavior. Instead, understand them. They were part of the game of separation. Please do not argue for your past limitations. Just improve. Get over guilt and shame. Improve. Guilt and shame were energies of the game of separation. And please let go of any tragic stories within you from the past that can't be changed. Let them be buried in the past. May they rest in peace. May your past rest in peace because you played the game of separation. Which now brings us to the seventh possibility, one that you're beginning to experience more and more. I'm going to call the seventh possibility an enlightened joy. An enlightened joy. Let me explain what I mean. An enlightened joy means that you not only experience more joy in your life, and please listen closely now, that your joy is now enlightened. Your joy does not depend on what is happening, but rather how you understand what is happening. Your joy doesn't depend whether the situation is good or bad. Your joy depends simply on how you're understanding the situation. Thus, even seemingly challenging or sad situations do not flip-flop you back into the old sadness. Rather, understand that everything is happening for the greater good of everyone involved, not just in good times, but in all times, not just for some, but for everyone. For you now have a more enlightened view of what it means to raise you above the dramas of your life, allowing you to stay in that joyful place, regardless of what is occurring outside of you. This is quite possible for you as you move into an enlightened joy. Okay, In conclusion, we began today's teaching by starting with 4 necessary things for our spiritual development, and then 7 things of what might be possible. The question for you is, have you made the decision to do them? Are you doing what is necessary? Are you doing what is possible? Please don't allow this to be a guilt trip, but please take a look at it and say, well, what are you doing? Are you moving forward or are you not? Now, you might say to me, Vince, you didn't say anything about doing the impossible. I'll do that in next week's teaching, giving you a hint of what's coming. But please realize that what seems to be impossible is always based on what is necessary and what is possible. Review today's teaching often. Go back to it a few times. See if you're doing what is necessary, at least moving to the general things that are possible. And yes, of course, we will practice both the necessary and the possible as a prelude to the impossible together, because we know the value of spiritual friendship. Let me now take you into meditation, and what a joy it is to do so. So you're looking at your spiritual life, and you think about those things. What are the things that are necessary that lead to the possible, and eventually what seemingly was impossible? Would you just take a look at those 4 necessary things? Just kind of ask yourself, just honestly, how are you doing? Dedicating the day before you get out of bed. Quiet time in meditation. That go-to phrase. And reviewing the 10 habits of daily enlightened living. Just how are you doing? Have you made the decision to do what is necessary? If someone asks you a question, well, what do you do with your spiritual practices? Would you say that, well, I do these 4 necessary things, and you have them very ready to share with others? I begin the morning before I get out of bed by dedicating the day to ushering in the kingdom of God. I have a daily spiritual meditation practice. I have a go-to phrase that keeps me centered. And I have these 10 daily steps of enlightened living that I review every day. At this stage of the game, you should be able to share these four things because you do them regularly. And then you begin to see that doing the necessary things are leading you to do the possible things. And let's be clear, the biggest one is to get over your ego. It's to get over your personality self and worldly circumstances and to elevate yourself into an understanding that you are an eternal soul spirit. It's the big one. That you are going to live more from your soul spirit and allow this light of understanding to direct your personality and worldly selves. Have you made that decision? If you have, I bet you have a gentle smile in your heart right now. You'll know if you have. That presence will just be right within you. It's a smile. If you're in your head space, you haven't made that decision yet. If you're still debating it, this decision is made from your heart center. And as you're sitting right where you are, you will know that you have a connection to your source. There's just a part of you, your spirit, that is connected consciously, feeling, absorbing the God spirit as you. It's a smile within you. It's a smile within you to which you have now become devoted. You are devoted to usher in the kingdom of God within yourself and through yourself to others. Makes you smile. And you know what else makes you smile? The spiritual friends that we have. It's sincerely wonderful to be with others who, at the same level of depth as you, are committed to the God Spirit. What an incredible experience to see other soul spirits just as committed, just as devoted as you are. Makes you smile. You might be saying to yourself, Vince, are you sure there's more impossible things than just these 7 possible things? These are really good. They are. Combined with what is necessary, they're the foundation, the completion of which we will then take next week. So for now, with a nice smile on your face, one in your heart, just invite you to return just to your natural breathing rhythm. Just feel how good that feels, just being in that wonderful flow. You're in the flow of life. You're in the flow of life and are contributing to it beautifully. With that, let me invite you to gently breathe your eyes open. Happy? Happy? Nice smile on your face. One in your heart. Just a feeling of being happy. Makes it so easy to say, I am an eternal being of light and love. Thus, only good can come to me, and only good can come from me. And that we are eternal beings of light and love. Thus, only good can come to us, and only good can come from us. Namaste.